So today I'm joined with Kyle. Kyle is part of Fidelity Charitable group, and today we're going to be talking about charitable gifts at death, or charitable giving through your estate plan would, I guess, be more of a appropriate title. Kyle, how do you start with this? So, if you're charitably inclined and you want to leave money to charity, how do you do this in a, I guess, tax efficient manner? You have children. You don't want to, give money to charities, but not your children. You want to, do it in a balanced way. Where do you start?
So the reality is that it's important to look at philanthropy as sort of a lifetime and as a estate planning measurement, right? So a lot of folks that give during their lifetime want to continue doing so with assets in their estate. Some folks are just saying, hey, we want just to give out of our estate. Maybe we haven't really given significantly in the past, and there's a lot that drives that. The first of which is people do their estate plan now decades before they pass away. And that's just the reality.
Yeah.
People trust and wills and make it so that they want their estate to be organized when they pass away, so that the next generation, when they take over the assets, it'll be a lot more organized for them. Now, in 2022, the estate tax exemption is a little bit over 12 million for single individuals and a little bit over 24 million for the married couples. So that's a big hurdle to get over. And a lot of your sort of average everyday Americans won't have a problem basically having assets that are less than that, right? Because anything over that amount is when taxes start being paid on your estate. So the benefit of charitable giving a lot of times is that you remove assets from your estate and can get under that exemption by making a gift in your estate to charity. So that's usually from a tax perspective what drives folks. But I would say that more oftentimes than not, it's more of their philanthropic desire and the idea that, hey, I can support a charity or multiple charities even after I'm not here anymore physically on the earth.
Yeah. So I think there's two things there. You know, I at least with my clients, I've seen their children who are now in their mid 40s to late 50s also have estate plans. Like I have an estate plan because I have young children, right? I have a 4 and 6 year old, so I want to make sure, if something happens to my wife and I, that we have people to take care of the kids. But as your kids are college age and older, there's a long period of time there. So like if you say a certain percentage of your overall estate is going to charity at the end of life, and then the kids have percentages, that percentage could be a dollar amount that is greater than you're comfortable giving because you haven't lived your life fully yet, right?
Right.
And then it could also have the opposite effect. If you put a specific dollar amount, then you live a really long life and you can potentially disinherit the children because, you have $1 million estate and you've dedicated 500,000 to go to certain charities. And then there's 500,000 divided by like 4 kids or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, what's the best way to solve some of those things, those issues?
I think there's a lot of proactivity that needs to happen on the end of the individual or the family, right? So every few years you update that estate plan. It's like you just mentioned before. A lot of folks will create their estate plan during their working years. Then they retire, have a better idea of, okay, here's where we stand. Here's how much money we think we'll need for retirement. And then how much do we include the kids in this? And obviously that changes over years too, right? So sometimes I see it all the time where let's say there's 2 or 3 children, one of the children really is excelling and they're really not in need of the financial support as much as other children might be. And even though the family may want to split it evenly, there are a lot of factors that are involved. So I would say that the key is as folks get older, and they're not only does their financial situation change, but a lot of times their philanthropic desires change as well, right?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of times in my own world is, folks get older and they get more religious or they get more tied to one charity or now they're on the board of another. And, those kind of things, just like financial situations, just like the idea of where the market will be next year will change a lot during somebody's lifetime. So it's important to revisit that.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Sometimes if we have a lump sum that's going to charity, we kind of get nervous because, how will the charity spend that money? Is there a way through when you're not here physically that the charity can get a stream of income through a vehicle from an estate planning purpose? And would that be like a donor advised fund, or how would that look?
Right. So this is, and back to your point before about folks wanting flexibility and maybe their ideals change over the years. A lot of times when you create the estate plan, the individual will just name their donor advised fund, which is a 501c3 public charity. It's an account under an organization like that. And they'll just name that entity in the capacity to receive all charitable assets from their estate, whether some of it's coming from their trust, whether some of it's coming from retirement accounts. Sometimes even people name it in their estate plan as to where the house goes when they pass away. And the reason people do that is because it's organized, right? So instead of every, like we talked about before, every few years, okay, I'm more attached to this charity went out of business, going back and forth to a trust and estate attorney very often like that becomes an expensive venture. So a lot of folks will just name their donor advised fund, and then within the donor advised fund structure, they'll create specific instructions, right? So the donor can say, well, hey, I'd like for X percentage to go to my children. The children take over the account. They give to their favorite charities. They can name charities outright, or to what you mentioned before, they can create an endowment-like structure, which we created at Fidelity Charitable about probably 7 or 8 years ago. And it was based on a lot of donor response to that exact situation. You know, hey, I give to my church every year. They take in $100,000 of contributions. I don't necessarily feel comfortable having all $2 million in my IRA account that I've earmarked for charity to go to them right when I pass away. So there's a structure that allows that donor to provide an income stream to that charity for years and years after they pass away, almost indefinitely into the future if they wanted. So there's a real value from a legacy perspective in doing that for somebody that wants to continue giving well after they pass.
Yeah, and that makes sense because now the family's involved, right? If they want to continue the legacy of giving, right? Now you got the kids involved in giving. And yeah, I think we should wrap it up here because this is a good place to kind of identify in your planning, how will you add in your charitable intent over a period of time? I think that's a key concept to take away here. And how do you do that in the most tax efficient way? Giving your IRA assets to charity versus your taxable assets. Your children would rather have the taxable assets, not the IRA, right? So thank you, Kyle. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave it below. Please also hit the like button. It helps other people find our content. And thank you for watching.